Hello and welcome to episode 226 of Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is Patrick Knisley.
My name is David Howe.
My name is Summer Rain.
Hello, my name is Jordan.
And
it's us.
It's us, yeah.
We're here.
We've done it.
I was pausing for David to say, and boy, oh boy, but there's no reason because it's the four of us here. And this week,
there's a reason. That's the reason.
The reason is that's the normal thing that happens.
Yes, we're here. We did it.
But this week we are talking about the September 2023 Nintendo Direct. It happened. It happened on a Thursday. The Nintendo gods smiled upon our podcast this time.
Yeah, they gave us the whole day to have Super Switch Headz all to itself, other than all the Direct Predictions episodes.
Yeah.
And while there isn't a large volume of other news, the Direct is kind of dominating the news. There are some big ones that happened. Unity happened. Oh boy, we're going to talk about that one. Mm-hmm. Some more details about the Switch 2, Switch successor, related to some of the previous things we've already talked about, but some more details have come out. And Sony tried their hand at having a presentation on the same day as Nintendo, and we'll talk about that as well. But before we do anything else, how's everybody doing? How's your week?
I'll go first because I've had the most emotional roller coaster of a week. Without getting too far into it, it's just a lot of highs and lows, an unexpected passing, and kind of not in my direct circle, but the edges of my circle kind of had some reverberations of emotions for people that are close to me. So, but helped film some music videos this weekend. And we got some of the best footage I've probably gotten in my independent career of just trying to get some good stuff. So it's the highest of highs, but a lot of somber notes around that and feelings around that. So, and it's been so busy this past week that it's I didn't really have time to process all of this. And so today it all came at me in a huge wave. So, but I'm also just really stoked to be doing a 4-up episode with y'all because it's been a minute. So I'm really just glad to be here with y'all.
Yes.
For sure.
Dream Team.
Yeah.
Dream Team's here to cheer you up, Jordan.
I feel it, man. I already feel a little bit better, honestly.
Good. It does.
Cheaper than therapy.
A lot.
Yeah. I stopped doing therapy as soon as all four of us were hosts, which is kind of true, but not actually related. Just kind of happened to work out that way. Yeah. I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking, Patrick. I have, I don't know. It was a weird weekend. It was filled with just an unhealthy amount of F-Zero 99. We'll get into that at the end of the show. It's fucked. When I'm not playing this game, I'm thinking about this game. And when I'm not thinking about this game, I'm watching this game on YouTube and Twitch. And when I'm not doing that, anyway, we'll get into it at the end. I did get out of the house a couple times, though. I went to a friend's birthday party. It's a friend I'm actually not really speaking to at the moment right now, but they invited me out. And they're it'd be weird if you weren't here. And I was okay, maybe this is them extending an olive branch or something. And it wasn't. It was just awkward. I was in the corner and they were the birthday person the whole time. And it was weird.
It's weird if you're there. It's weird if you're not there.
Yeah, it would have been weird either way.
You're talking about it on the podcast.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have brought this up. But
No, please, thank you. This is awesome.
Literally taking the place of my therapy. Also, I did go out to a show on maybe I'll cut that. I did go out.
Keep it.
Okay, you got it. Well, I didn't name names. I did go out to a show last night at at Cold Town. It was actually my first time going to the new Cold Town, and I saw it was Sugar Water Purple and Damn Gina. All the original members of Damn Gina all happen to be in town. Some of them are usually in, the Netherlands. Some of them are usually in Los Angeles. They all happen to be here this week. It was an awesome show. It was so cool seeing everybody. So comedy's back, baby, if not just for the weekend. But yeah, that's about it. It was a good time. What about y'all? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I've been good. I had I know we talked about my birthday last week already because it was my birthday, but I had a birthday party last Friday. Well, it's notable to mention because it was Persona 5 themed, and an activity that I really wanted to do to make happen was to have 8-player Smash, like Super Smash Brothers, and make everybody play as Joker. And the only stage we could play on was Mementos, and the only items allowed were guns and Smash Balls and fake Smash Balls. Oh, and food, because like and curry, because like curry is like a whole thing in Persona. And it was so fucking fun. Mementos is not a big enough stage for 8 players.
It
I would
really
like to
isn't.
I would like to make that clear. But it was so funny every single time somebody would get the final smash and just constantly seeing like Joker silhouettes and like Joker killing multiple Jokers. It was very fun. It was very funny. But no, almost everybody that came dressed up, and we like the cake was really cool, and we had like a little photo drop area, and I made both virgin and alcoholic martinis, which is like the cute like float drink that they get at the one cafe they go to. It was like a whole moment. So I got to indulge in that little gamer fantasy this past weekend. Otherwise, gaming when I shouldn't be, because I just joined this dance troupe and I am now in like a whole production. I know I'm in like this entire production for like a theater festival that's happening next month that I need to be rehearsing for, that I was just asked to do, and I need to come up with the solo before. But by the time that this episode comes out, dear listener, I will be at a rehearsal practicing a dance that I haven't choreographed yet. So that's where I'm at. I should be doing that. So if you see my Steam activity that I'm currently playing Baldur's Gate 3, you have my permission to call me through Discord to interrupt the game and tell me to go choreograph instead.
Accountability buddies.
Yeah.
If you see me playing F-Zero 99, don't say shit. I'm having the time of my life.
Well, I'll go real briefly. I think, I'm still adjusting to full-time work in office, and it's been a lot for me, but I don't know. It's been up and down, but adding to that stress is not her fault. My wife went out of town and my kid got sick. So I did my best to chip away at some work today and this weekend. And like last night, I kind of saw the writing on the wall of like, I probably am not going to be able to take him to school. So I stayed up late working and taking way too long of F-Zero 99 breaks.
Let's go.
Because I can justify one, and then it's hard to do one more or not do one more. I mean, anyway.
Very addicting game.
Yes, it is. We will talk about it more later. But so, that's what's going on with me. Whew. Okay, I'll be all right.
That's us. We've done it.
We did it.
Can I say one more thing?
Please.
I wanted to just say, I meant to post in the podcast channel, but that last episode was like phenomenal. Like I really enjoyed just hearing like the history of Nintendo, and I just wanted to give a shout out. That was one of my favorite episodes of the show. So props to y'all.
Thank you, Jordan.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I really enjoyed editing that episode too. I agree, as probably one of my favorite episodes we've done. Thanks everybody. There was a lot of love for that in the Discord. Actually, it meant a lot to hear you guys say that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, here I would actually call out Discord comments, but my Discord is not cooperating right now. But as you said, there's a lot of love and always great discussion in our Discord. And I'm sorry for not being able to shout out anybody specific right now. If somebody remembers something, and please do interrupt me. But over on the YouTube, we got some good comments. Carosetta left a few comments related to that, but also my favorite is that Dave does a great Chris Hemsworth impression. Your Thor Fox, as I'm calling it, is much appreciated. I think somebody said that elsewhere too on the Discord. I think it was maybe Hans or somebody said that, or maybe in your stream, David. But
yeah, I'm trying to think of a thing to say as Chris Hemsworth Fox right now, and I'm coming up blank. But I appreciate the love. Yeah, that was a fun one to do. Maybe that'll be a recurring character.
I smell a new bit.
Yeah. Sprowlix said Yamauchi would have loved Elabits. The Elabits bit continues too. And Dylan Muss said, I'm here for Patrick dragging Lego Star Wars. You know it. All right. I'm here for it too. So we do appreciate hearing from our listeners and viewers. Definitely join the Discord and be part of the conversation there. It's great. And don't forget to, like and subscribe on YouTube, where you can see the video version of our podcast in all of its glory.
That's one thing I'll say is Robert Segovia said he started watching the last episode on YouTube. And he was like, ooh, this is so much better. And I'm like, yeah, dog, it's a whole video component. So definitely tune in on YouTube if that interests you. We love your subs.
All right. So we don't have a large number of news items, but we have some big ones. So obviously the Direct is the big news for the week, but we'll cover that in the main topic. But that's not the only game announcement that happened. Right, David? We got a new Picross, new old Picross announcement.
Yes.
Can you clarify what this is and what that means?
Absolutely. So the shining, beautiful baby boys of Japanese game development, Jupiter Entertainment, have recently announced that they are bringing the Picross E series of games to the Switch next year as Picross S Plus. The Picross E series was basically what the Picross S series is, but for the 3DS, right? They did Picross E 1 through 9, essentially, with Picross E8 being the final one released in America. Japan got E9 out there. And so what they're doing here is they're actually releasing a single app for $4.99 that will include Picross E, like all the puzzles from Picross E. And then they're releasing individually as $5 DLC all of the other E titles that will go under this one app. So this is exciting for a few reasons. I think it's just going to be fun. First of all, I'm going to be buying every single one of these packs.
I was going to ask, did you play through these and you were going to play them again, or?
Yeah, so I actually have these, a few of these on my 3DS. Whenever the eShop closed down for the 3DS, I just got every single Picross game just as a bit, basically. But I've been going through the ones that were Japan exclusive. So I actually haven't played any of these. So I'm really excited to have them all. It'll just be cool to have over 1,000 Picross puzzles in one game. So I'm pumped about that. It's coming out some point next year. I kind of have a theory about when a life cycle of a Nintendo console will end based on what number in the Picross letter series it gets to. Seeing that Picross E made it all the way to 9, and then the Switch came out the following year. Picross S made it up to Picross S9. We've got a Switch probably coming out next year. So I think whenever we got the Switch 2, if they have another letter to Picross series and it makes it up to 9, then we know the next generation of systems is coming the next year. That's just my theory, but I think it is correct and holds a lot of water. So
all right.
I need a whole YouTube essay about this theory and how much it holds weight based on the history of Picross. And then you could also rope it into a larger history of Jupiter because you're such a Jupiter fanboy. I hung out with you on, what was that, Wednesday? And he was just gushing about Jupiter.
I'm a big Jupiter fan. Yeah. The only time in which this pattern has not held, was on the Super Nintendo when Jupiter, the same company that's been making fucking Picross games for 30 years, also put out over the Nintendo Power Service a collection of smaller Picross games called the Picross NP series. That made it all the way to volume 8. But then the following year, the N64 was released. So it's they've been doing this for a long time, and this actually holds quite a bit of water. There were no Picross games on the N64 or GameCube, so we can't really count that. But it's interesting to see these patterns emerge.
Save it for the essay.
Okay. Yeah. we'll bring it up later. Yeah.
All right, this is a big one. Unity, the game engine used by game developers of various sizes, but especially indie and smaller and middle-sized studios, has announced and rolled back to various degrees a new fee model that has been extremely controversial. If you pay any attention to video game news, you've probably heard about this already. But essentially what they did is they got rid of one of their tiers, and that's not as big of a deal, though it is a bit of a deal. And they said that if you make over $200,000, they're going to charge you per install of the game. It's just mind-boggling for many reasons because it's not very practical. They even said it would be retroactive, which is not very legal, and it's not very appealing to anybody that uses this ecosystem. So I think this came from a desire to be different than Unreal, which has changed some of their fees to be like a percentage take after $1 million. And because in the announcement, they said, we aren't doing that. The initial announcement. Oh boy, there's a lot that has happened around this. I don't even know where to begin.
I mean, I don't think they're doing it in an attempt to differentiate themselves from Unreal.
No,
I think they're doing it just to
money.
make fucking money because they're greedy bastards.
But they specifically said they weren't doing a revenue share, and this is in lieu of it. And I think that's because that's what Unreal has switched to.
Right.
But yes, the baseline of this is, we've been talking about Unity for a few years now. They went public a few years ago, and ever since then, it's been all about monetization and acquisitions of things that don't necessarily benefit your average user of Unity. And I think, hey, this is a prime example of what happens under capitalism, right? Of trying, like make a company public. So now it's accountable to shareholders. So now they want to figure out how to make more money. And I mean, maybe that could be done smartly, but hasn't been done here. Oh boy, what do y'all want to talk about here? What's up first?
Okay, I first want to talk about like reading their statement is like confusing and like very clearly not as well thought out as they thought it was before they pushed it, because it leaves a lot of questions. So like the first question that comes to my mind is like, what do you do with subscription services such as like Game Pass? I know for me personally, I uninstall and install games as I can just to like clear up space on my hard drive. And then sometimes like, you know what? No, I want to go back to that game back and forth.
Especially if you have like a 500 gig Xbox Series S, you're like installing and reinstalling all the time.
Especially for these little games. So like, how does that get counted up, Or like say you get a game in a charity bundle. How does that get counted up? Does that get counted per every one that's installed from the charity bundle? Does that disincentivize people to do charity bundles and developers?
Right. Do demos count is another big question, right?
Do demos count? These are all just questions, and I mean, I'll pass it off after here. I just wanted to like my favorite. A lot of developers have come out against it, but my favorite quote from all these developers making statements was from Megacrit, the people who made Slay the Spire. And at the end of their statement, they're like, "We have never made a public statement before. That is how badly you fucked up." And it just made me laugh. I was like, "That's pretty crazy." Yeah, but
it was kind of nice to see on Twitter just like a sea of indie developers with like ping like statements that they've released, right? Like, and just everybody is pissed off. I don't think anybody is into this except for the board at Unity, right? Like, I mean, I think there's also like a lot of way we could have seen this coming. I mean, Unity merged with Iron Source, which was a notorious malware company, if you remember. That happened last year, and a lot of people were sounding alarms at that point. I mean, one of the guys who's like the head of Unity now, I don't know if he's the CEO or if he's just on the board, used to be one of the top dogs at EA, doing all of like kind of the worst offensive like microtransaction-y, like sucking profit out of every possible aspect of this art medium. Can we remind everybody that this is meant to be? So I think that, this is not like surprising just in the trajectory that Unity has been going on recently. And of course, let's not forget the sending oysters back at Red Lobster incident, that happened to me personally on my birthday several years ago, embarrassed the entire table. We all knew something was fishy at Unity whenever that happened. But I think that regardless of whether or not these total scumbags are trying to like milk poor independent developers for all that they're fucking worth, what we're seeing right now is a total crisis in said developers on if they're not walking this back, can we trust Unity ever again? right? To not pull something shady like this in the future? Does that give us confidence to stay in their platform? And then B, if you've got Unity projects right now and you've been working in Unity forever, is it fucking worth spending however many years it's going to take for like a one-person team to learn a whole brand new software, you know? And then if you do you switch to Godot, which famously doesn't work super well with consoles because of licensing with open source stuff, getting onto consoles? You can do it, but you have to work through a third party a lot of times in order to get that to happen. Unreal, which has its own potential issues with revenue split, but is also a huge undertaking and isn't necessarily what you want to do for 2D games. So there's like kind of a whole, everybody's just doesn't know what to do. They feel like a lot of indie developers are feeling like they're refugees right now after having committed so much time into learning the software, which I imagine, Patrick, you're feeling right now as an indie developer who's been making his game in Unity for the past few years.
Yeah, there's a lot of more to talk about here, but I'll just, since you opened this up, I'll go.
Please.
You know, I started this new job and I told myself I'm not going to worry about working on my game for the first 2 weeks. The day I scheduled myself to sit down and work on the game was the night that because this news broke like late in the day. And so I sat down and instead of working on the game, I just doom scrolled Twitter, which didn't feel good and probably wasn't a good idea, but it's what I did because it's all I could do because I wasn't like, I was having that crisis that you're talking about of like, can I start over? Should I start over? Do I start over with this project, which is, you know, I've been working on this game for about 1.5 years, a little longer than that, maybe now at this point, give or take. And I've been learning the software for more than 2 years, but 2.5 years, like strong. And I'm not an expert in it, but I feel comfortable with it, especially with the things I'm doing. And I think I've talked about on the show that I have plans for some of the side characters in my game to have their own little games kind of inspired by our friend Marcus at Ciactro Games, right? And that model is very much a bad model if it's a per install, right? Of selling games cheaply, like, and hoping for a large amount. And that's kind of what I was thinking of doing. So I'm building this code base. And so, yeah.
Not to interrupt, but yeah, Marcus Horn from Ciactro Games was on Nintendo Life on their YouTube channel, and he did a little conversation with Alex from Nintendo Life about that specifically. He's like, I make a bunch of little $5 games that I don't make expensive games that sell less units. I sell a bunch of little games that sell enough to where it's like I'm making enough money to sustain myself. So this would immediately impact me in a very, very negative way, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, so those kind of snack games that we did a whole episode about are much less attractive if you're a Unity dev.
Yeah. So I think I was really depressed for a day. I almost kind of wish we could have recorded this episode the next day. Shout out to Bucket, who's one of my coworkers again, who I went into his office the next morning and just ranted for like 20 minutes because I think I got it, and then I got it out of my system. And then I think I just came to the conclusion like I just got to finish my game in Unity. There's no like I don't think any of this is going to stick. We can get into that. I mean, maybe some of it does, but legally speaking, I don't think they can make retroactive stuff stick. You can't change the terms of service that much. Anyway, so I think I got to finish my game. I don't know that I'll have this problem. I'll be lucky to sell $200,000 worth of copies. The game I'm making right now isn't a snack game. So,
right. But that's also like not like that's not you shouldn't like go into development being like I'll probably be good because I won't make it, you know, like
right. No, it's like I don't.
You want to sell a bunch of copies of your game, you know? So like that's why it's so fucked up.
Right, exactly. I made that joke somewhere of like I guess I hope my game doesn't sell 200,000 or 200 or whatever, make that money. But anyway, I think I was like, well, and I'll explore Godot. Which I've actually made quite a bit of progress on.
My sister is the same. She's a Unity dev and is also. I saw her immediately start talking about Godot. She's like, "All right, I guess I'm going to Godot."
Well, it's attractive because it's open source, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think, but again, it's like definitely if you want to look into putting things onto consoles, like you'll have to port oftentimes in order to get onto home.
Yeah,
consoles.
there's some. I mean, there's pros and cons, and it's hard to figure that out right now. But but it can't hurt to explore it. and I'm like thankful for my son. Strangely, this might sound strange, but like he's been really gung ho about Godot. We downloaded it on his little Chromebook because it works on a Chromebook, and he's like literally forcing me to follow tutorials.
Oh, that's so sweet.
He's like, Dad, you're making your next game in Game Builder Garage, and I won't hear the end of it.
It's probably still a ways out, but we are making this little art game that I think will be fun to share at some point. But anyway, so I don't know what the long-term future, like I am really like, I've got code that I'm really happy with, but at the same time, if I rewrite it, maybe it'll be better. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of it in positive and optimistic terms for myself.
I mean, I certainly would, and I'm not a fucking developer, so I don't know. I don't take whatever I'm saying with a grain of salt. But it's like, I would not think that it's a good idea for anyone to scrap especially if they're a decent way into a game, to scrap what they've done and try porting it over to Unity or to Godot right now. Like, I think if you're working on a game in Unity right now, probably finish the game in Unity, right? Like, I feel like it would be a huge waste of time to just like start over, unless there are other good reasons to do that.
There's
right?
one developer who, I forget the guy's name. He's been around for a long time, and he showed that he did it, but he wasn't using, he's using Unity as a shell, kind of like it was very not using what I'm doing, which is using Unity's internal, like, API and physics and all of that kind of stuff that, like, if so it's situational too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And skill-based, like that just terrifies me of like redoing everything.
Say you are now working a full-time job again and don't have a bunch of time.
The timing didn't feel good,
Yeah, absolutely.
But man, that's personal things, but there's about several other things we should talk about before we move on. One of which is that the backlash, there's like death threats made against Unity, or like bomb threats and stuff. Or we also didn't mention that like there was a lot of internal pushback, right? Like apparently a lot of people that worked at Unity had been upset about this planned rollout and trying to fight it, and then it just still happened, and several people quit over it and that sort of thing. So it's got to be a mess over there.
That's a mess. Don't make death threats and bomb threats.
Oh yeah.
Obviously that should go without saying, but that is very, very fucking stupid. If, like there's a Unity office here in Austin and they had to leave because of bomb threats and stuff like that.
I'm sure
that's
the people
no good
responsible are also working from home or on vacation right now or something,
or golfing.
Right. So the people that you're actually threatening are probably the people that are on your side. It was also very confusing. Like, I've read a bunch of analysis about this. I mean, I just don't think it holds up. Like, they can change the terms going forward, and you can retroactively change some terms of service, but not, it sort of depends on the region and that sort of thing. And I think European courts especially would be really resistant to this. But even like in the
Europe
US,
going to save the day again.
But even in the US, like I think it's so egregiously different than the terms you agreed to that it's just not. I just don't think that's going to hold up for retroactive stuff. And game engines have this problem, in my opinion, anyway, of too many versions. I'm not interested in upgrading to the newest version of Unity. I mean, to dogpile on Unity, like they're not always the best at supporting their features, and when you find a version that's working well for you, you know what I mean? You kind of stick with it. So I don't know. I'm rambling.
I mean, I feel like they have kind of like somewhat walked it back or whatever, and then tried to clarify what they were saying. But I'm like, dude, the fact that you didn't think of these things from the get-go, because it was very clear that people internally were saying, well, what about this situation and this situation? And they just ignored all that is like, not a good sign. But I mean,
and then piracy, right? We didn't mention that, like or malicious installs and that sort of thing.
I was going to bring that up. It's that like gone are the days of review bombing. Here are the days of pirating a game, downloading it, installing, uninstalling over and over and over and over and over, and just costing the dev a shit ton of money because it's install based. Like, obviously that is a hypothetical and we don't know, they've said that there would be ways to track that, But who knows? It's like every time that they've walked something back or given a new reason for something or whatever, it hasn't made any sense and has been very vague.
Right.
So,
If they've figured out a way to determine what games are pirated and what games aren't, then that's their moneymaker. Not this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, seriously.
Because they haven't, right? And I think one of the things that's nice that, we talked about game devs being upset, but I think this is a situation where you upset a lot of gamers too, because this puts, if it's retroactive, some games could get pulled from stores. Some games could stop receiving updates.
This affects us as the consumer too.
Yeah, and the prices could go up. DRM free versions would be less desirable. Like, to put out all kinds of reasons that it would hurt the end person.
And on top of that too, it's like, they've said that, oh, don't worry, indie devs, if you get a Game Pass deal, Microsoft will foot the bill for the install thing. It's like, you think Microsoft is going to just want to pay all this either? Like, it's like, no, they can afford it. It's like, they're not going to want to do it either.
That makes me even more worried about Microsoft making a deal with me then. And
exactly.
Then not notorious, but like a Pokemon game was made in Unity. If it's retroactive, you know what I mean? And all future Pokemon Brilliant Diamond sales required Nintendo's suing the shit out of Unity.
Yes.
Because Fire Emblem Engage, I think, was also made.
I don't know what games were and weren't, but I know there are a few big ones out there with a few big players that would go to bat. I'm sure, so who knows what's going to actually happen.
Yeah, I got a feeling that it's not, that this is going to fall through, right? And that there's been so much fucking blowback that there's no way that's going to actually happen. But then at the same time, I've also said the same thing about every single change that Elon Musk has said he's going to make to Twitter, and he's done all of them, So it's like, I don't know what to believe anymore these days, man.
Yeah, I think that's like a slightly different situation. At least I hope it is. But yes, they've already walked back or made 2 walkbacks, right? The most recent one was very vague. It was more of an announcement, like, we've heard, we're going to share an update soon. So maybe by the time this comes out, even they'll have said something additional. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the future holds. Like, the best case situation, I mean, I think either way, like, regardless, because there are so many people that have said, I don't care what happens now, I'm quitting Unity. And to some extent, I feel that way myself. I mean, I'm also, though, like, I don't know, a little bit wait and see. But but enough people have said that that seems bad. So much goodwill is gone. I don't think the stock rate has gone down that much yet, and I don't know that it will, like, quickly. But I just feel like this is the end of Unity one way or another, kind of. Unless they, like, somebody white hat comes in and buys them once their value goes down or something, which could happen. And that's maybe the best case we could hope for, right?
There was there's a new iPhone coming out that is supposed to be super gaming machine. What if fucking Apple buys it, and shuts this whole shit down? I would not be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, especially if it really does tank, then that could happen. And maybe that's the best thing we can hope for. Because even if they walk it all back, I think so many people are like, well, what if they change it again next time? Or clearly this shows they don't care about making bold decisions without listening. So, yeah. Crazy. I don't know.
Crazy stuff.
There's so much that happened with it. We could talk about it for a while longer.
I mean, and
we should probably move on.
Yeah. This is not the end too. So it's like, we will probably talk about this in the future as well.
Yeah. So we'll move on then to a patent that has been filed. I guess technically this patent's been around for a little while, but kind of in the US, the publish date happened recently, such that people have been taking notice of a new joystick that Nintendo has filed using magnets. I don't pretend to understand what this means. I don't know if somebody else has a better understanding of the mechanics of this.
Yeah, it's Hall effect joysticks, which has been used in lots of different controllers at this point. They're the undriftable sticks. Anything that uses a contact on a joystick over time is going to wear out, regardless of how much, at a certain point, if you continuously use it, something that has friction will eventually run out. So a lot of sticks recently have been doing Hall effect joysticks, which use magnets to sense that. So there's nothing actually rubbing together. It looks like Nintendo's just made a patent for one of their own controllers using this technology. So we haven't seen anything from that come out. So we have to just assume this is more kind of Switch 2 dogpile information that hopefully, this means that their next system will not have the Joy-Con drift problem going forward for whatever new controllers they bring to the table. So
yes,
that's kind of all that is. And I hope that's true.
Yeah. So that, if they could just be a random patent again, the timing of these things that we find out about it, who knows? But that feeds right into our continued discussion of the Switch 2 or Switch NG Switch or Switch NG, whatever we want to call it now.
That's what Activision calls it.
Right. So the big thing that's come out is that we already knew from the FTC versus Microsoft case that, some information that Bobby Kotick there had information about the next Switch or mentioned it in the trial. I guess somebody's maybe combed through all the evidence and found these redacted emails where it's referred to as the Switch NG and that could just be, again, Activision's internal naming. Next gen is probably what the NG stands for.
Yeah.
You have to next generation Switch.
So that
I'm over here like New Game Plus.
Yeah, I mean, so that's obviously
Newt Gingrich.
I don't know if that's something they would do because I don't know. Are we at a point where they would that feels too English-y to me. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Switch is an English word, so
Switch internally at Nintendo was known as the NX for a long time. So I think that this very well could be what Nintendo's own internal naming convention is for this, instead of the NX, it's the NG, right? But like you said, it could also just be what Activision is referring to it as they have dev kits or whatever. Some of the interesting stuff here also, in addition to just the title, is that, they're saying that it's closer to Xbox One, PS4. Some of the stuff we've been hearing recently is that it exceeds that with DLSS. So I think some of this is obviously older information, and a lot of the stuff out of Gamescom is much more recent. So I'd probably put more faith into that kind of stuff, but it's just interesting to hear more and more from official sources about what Nintendo's cooking up for their next system.
Yeah, and I think, when we talk about the Direct, we might want to come back to this topic a little bit, but unless there's anything else, we can move on to talk about the competitor presentation that happened the same day, actually, which was Sony had a State of Play presentation that took place on September 14th as well. Shorter, like 25-ish minutes, opposed to the 40 minutes. And I don't know, arguably not as good. I don't know.
They were both a little mid. Let's get real, dude.
That might be fair.
Whoa, too soon. Save it for the main topic.
I think, Sony's not always hitting these out of the park, in my opinion, anyways, right? But it did seem to be Spider-Man was the big thing on this, and other than that,
well, and
there's a lot
on a segue.
Oh yes,
there's a lot of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth stuff. We got a release date for that, which is looking pretty sexy, man. That game looks good.
Yeah.
So that's exciting to see. They opened with Baby Steps, the Bennett Foddy game, which was such a weird way to open, but I'm kind of here for it.
Yes.
It just started and it was just in it and there was no dialogue. And I loved it. He's like, oh yeah, fucking grapple. Yeah, I could fucking grapple up there, up on the fucking. It's just like the way that he was speaking was really funny to me. That game looks great. Death Stranding, but quite literally a walking simulator, I guess. Is kind of what that game looks like. But yeah, it was okay. I mean, I never have much expectation out of State of Plays.
That's probably good.
Yeah.
And they're just not games that we're as interested in, I guess, too.
Yeah, but I think even I this is like third hand, but I heard even some Sony fans are kind of like, well, there's not much there. I mean, that Spider-Man game looks great if you're into that, and the Final Fantasy game, but I don't know. They showed the Avatar game and a couple other games, but
it felt like games that were like, most of it was like games that were already announced and we already assumed were coming to PS5 anyway. So like there's just like a lot of not new information, just maybe more footage.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters VR game. Nobody's getting that. What the hell, man? You guys don't have PSVR 2s?
You guys don't have.
You didn't spend $1,000 on the PSVR 2 and then $200 on the Portal and then $250 on the headphones. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah, I don't know. That's my question.
I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Do we want to talk about the Spider-Man or the Final Fantasy stuff anymore? I don't know.
I already said the important thing. Cloud on a Segway.
Cloud on a Segway.
Done.
I mean, it looks good. You know, I mean, I think like Spider-Man looks great. Am I going to play it? No, comes out the same day as Mario Wonder. I'll be playing that instead.
Yeah. Well, then I guess if we don't have anything else to say about that, that's going to do it for the news. So we'll take a short break. And when we come back, we'll go through the big Nintendo Direct that happened this past week. Well, we got the inevitable September Direct this past Thursday. And so here we are doing our normal thing where we're going to walk through it. I think there's a lot of games that we'll just kind of mention and move on. We like to kind of maybe just give a general overview of this Direct. David already said it in the news when we were talking about the state of play. This might not have been the best Nintendo Direct for most people. Obviously, it's very subjective. But are we feeling the sort of end of Switch or port fatigue or all of the above in this one? What any overall thoughts from anybody here?
Fire Emblem fans, we were clowning. We were clowning so hard the night before. So Fire Emblem Heroes does their banner reveals in the evenings. It's usually at 9 p.m. Central Time. And there was a Discord that I was in that as soon as that went live, that whole Discord blew up with the Michael Scott meme about how it's happening because the banner was all characters from Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War. So we were like, oh shit, this is it. It's
nope.
I'm painting my face, putting my nose. It sure didn't happen.
Yeah, that's a bummer. It's very weird that there was no Fire Emblem remake
news
here
at all. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but again, that is clearly because they're holding it for Switch 2.
I think they're holding it for Switch 2. I think it's going to be a release title for Switch 2 in the way that Fire Emblem Three Houses was meant to be a release title for the Switch. Yeah.
Yes. Nintendo told us all we need to know about the release plans for their next system with this Direct, right? Without saying anything. In just that, like, look, this is all end of life
summer
shovelware. You know what I mean? Like they're throwing random bits and bobs out there. Yeah, like Luigi's Mansion 2 coming out next summer. Like, there's no reason that game isn't like dropped on the service like today, unless they're just trying to pad out stuff, with things that are better suited for this system than they are for a next gen system, right? So I think that, to me, there was a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff I really liked in this Direct. I think that there was definitely a lot that I think there was something for everybody, like there kind of is with every Direct. There's stuff that I am insanely hyped about that are like some of the best games I played this year were revealed in this Direct, right? But I think overall, for me, my reaction is a bit more tepid. I found myself kind of a bit sleepy throughout most of this Direct.
Yeah, I feel similarly to Summer, but with Metroid instead, where I was like, dude, at least they could, like no Metroid news whatsoever. Zero.
Ooh.
Yeah, I definitely thought about both of y'all. Because there was a lot of hype for Metroid and Fire Emblem coming into this, and no payoff.
Nothing. But Patrick, how'd you feel?
I felt okay about it. Like, I think I love the Mario characters and series, and there was a lot of Mario stuff in here that's coming, and a lot of stuff that's old but being remade that I've never played, so it kind of works for me. But it does feel kind of like, oh, that's gonna be fun, not like a whoa, except for maybe one or two things, right? Which we're all maybe feeling. But let's get into it. They open with the Splatoon 3 expansion pass side order DLC, but they didn't really explain much. This is our first view of gameplay, but it was not explained. And this is also farther out than I thought it would be, which I think is going to be a theme here. I think a lot of these things are a little further than I thought.
What was the release date? I kind of
They didn't give us
Not a
one. It's
date,
just spring.
It just says spring.
Okay, interesting.
So it's probably coming out later than the DLC was announced this year.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Which, right out the gate, like that had me really, I guess, confused about like, well, how many waves of DLC were there supposed to be with Splatoon 3? And like thinking about that, like right out the gate with this direct had me thinking about like, well, what's the deal with the Switch successor then if this DLC wave isn't coming out until spring? Which that's the thing though. I want them to take their time. I want this to be awesome. Sorry, I'm like jumping the gun on like a bunch of different topics related to side order. But like as soon as we got to see Deadfish, I was like, yo, what is happening? Like this is gonna be awesome. I think this is gonna be like a whole additional game in the way that the Octoling DLC that we got in 2 was. So like please take your time, like make it awesome, but also
I mean it's definitely coming out for the Switch, right? I mean, I don't think we're gonna get a new Switch in the spring, right? But I think what I'll say about this DLC is that it looks really cool. To me, it looks like it's kind of got like roguelike elements, right? Yeah. It's got like kind of, you pick upgrades and it's a replayable sort of thing. So for me personally, like I've always wanted to get into the single player stuff with Splatoon, but I just never fucking care about it. Like Octo expansion, I thought was like super cool style. I bought it. The single player on all 3 Splatoon games I've never finished, and I did the same with Octo expansion. It's like, I just can't get into single player Splatoon. I know there's a lot of people I've been listening to recently are like, I can't get into the multiplayer, but I love the single player. I'm like, you guys, I am the opposite of you guys, like I just don't feel that way. So hopefully something like this, that's a little bit more roguelike-y, that's a little bit more emergent of gameplay instead of just like, these are levels we made and it's kind of a little puzzly, like will speak to me a little bit more. So if that's the case, I'm pumped. Either way, I bought this. I'm going to give it a chance. I want to support Splatoon. I love Splatoon, so I'm excited for this. I do wish it was coming out this year though.
Yeah. I might now pick it up after seeing it because I was worried it would be like Octo expansion, just more levels, but harder. And that's not what I want, but this does look like a different type of gameplay. Even though but I don't know because they didn't explain it. And I wish they had done that too. I was also a little disappointed by that, but not surprised once you see the date. So,
yep.
It does make me feel a little bit better when I was watching this and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. So to hear y'all be like, I have no idea what's going on makes me feel a little bit better about it.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
And next up, we got Mario versus Donkey Kong. Also coming out a little further than I might thought, February 16th. So this is like a remake of the original Mario versus Donkey Kong game. That didn't really strike me at first. I thought it was like a new one just with the name,
this is the Game Boy Advance game,
but
with a new coat of paint.
It wasn't really clear. But I guess they were adding at least something, right? They're adding co-op, if nothing else, right? Because that wasn't in the original, I don't think.
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but it kind of feels like it's added for this. Either way, maybe there'll be more levels or, obviously new coat of paint. But I'm pretty excited because I've never played this game. And I know this is, knowing that there's co-op in it, it just feels like, that'll be a fun game to play in our house.
Yeah, I'm of 2 minds about this. Well, I'm of 3 minds about this. I'm of 2 disappointed minds and 1 enthusiastic mind. My first disappointed mind is, Puro. This is one of the Puro leaks, right? And Puro was hyping up Donkey Kong, and we've obviously heard about this Odyssey dev 2D Donkey Kong Country game. This is not that, right? And we should have known this. I mean, he made pretty clear this was going to be Mario versus Donkey Kong in the leaks, right? I wish it was a new Donkey Kong Country game, right? But that's whatever. Let's go to my enthusiastic mind. This is an awesome fucking game. And out of all of the Mario versus Donkey Kong games, which there are myriad, and a lot of them are like minis, like the mini Strike Again or whatever. There's a lot on like the DS. For a while, they were just shoveling Mario versus Donkey Kong games out for like a while, right? And a lot of those started decreasing in quality quite a bit as it went on. This is by far the best one. This is Donkey Kong 94 2, like straight up. Like if you like Donkey Kong 94, and I do, I think it's the best Game Boy game ever made. This is a straight up sequel to that game with the same style of gameplay, with this just as good puzzles, really interesting levels, and all that kind of shit. So out of all of them to be ported, I think this is the best one, and I think this is a great introduction to it. And this is an amazing game, right? Now, here's back to my other disappointed mind. This is a $50 release, and it is literally just a Game Boy Advance game, right? Like, I kind of just wish they put this out on NSO for free, right?
Yeah.
God,
I think
$50 so
like I don't
much.
like I really really like this game a lot. I don't think I'm going to buy this game. You know, I want to because I like it and it looks pretty, but it's like I don't know if I can justify spending $50 on it. Like Advance Wars is 2 Game Boy Advance games packed together, right? This is just one Game Boy Advance game, right? So until they show me that they're adding a ton of content to this game, I think I'm going to pass, unfortunately. But I will say, if you've never played it before, this is a great game and it might hold up just as well. Maybe I'll change my mind by the time it comes out. But as of right now, this is a little bit of a disappointing announcement.
Next up, they showed Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, coming out in January. The next game after that was Horizon Chase 2, which was a shadow drop available today, or that day on the Switch.
Prince of Persia, they didn't really show anything new here. That said, this game still looks spectacular. I will be picking this game up. I'm just kind of, this felt like a contractual obligation to put this in the direct again. Horizon Chase Turbo 2, I've not picked it up yet, but Horizon Chase Turbo 1 is awesome. I really, really like that game a lot if you like racing games. So I have yet to pick this up because I've been playing F-Zero, but I'm actually excited to pick up this game. It looks pretty spectacular.
They showed off a game called Super Crazy Rhythm Castle, like a co-op rhythm game. Next game was Spy X Anya Operation Memories.
You don't pronounce the X.
Spy Anya Operation Memories, but there's an X there if you're Googling it.
People who know Spy Family will understand that, yes, there's an X in there.
Spy Twitter Anya.
Spy Twitter Anya. As I joked, this is the Persona for Kids game, and what do you know, my kid watching this was like, I want to play that game. So there you go.
Aww. Do you guys watch? Well, clearly you don't watch it. Never mind. I was going to say you watch Spy Family, but you pronounce the X, so you clearly don't.
I don't even know what that is.
Are you not? Is it not Hunter x Hunter? Are you going to tell me that next?
Yes. Is that your joke? I can't tell.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You'll have to figure that one out.
Oh, as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, cute, a Spy Family game. And then I saw like the gameplay and I was like, oh, this is a game for babies.
Yeah. I mean, so it's a show. It's an anime.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it either.
You've never heard of Spy Family?
No.
I haven't heard of 99% of anime over here, so I don't.
Look, I work in anime. I've never heard of this thing.
It's
Summer, this is why we need you.
What is it? I mean, is it like a popular show?
Yes. It's an extremely popular show. It's a rom-com. The premise is it's a man who is a spy, a woman who is an assassin, and then the daughter who is a mind reader. So Anya is a mind reader, and then they eventually adopt a dog who can see into the future. And none of them know any of this about each other, except Anya knows everything because she can read minds. And then she's able to then start seeing into the future when the dog sees into the future. And it's hilarious. Because
it's a good show.
Is it family friendly?
Yes.
Okay.
There is like a little bit of blood, but you don't actually see any of the because the mother is an assassin, but you don't actually see the violence. Like I would totally let my kid watch Spy Family.
I was more like just about because it really does look like it's for
the game
kids.
Looks like it's for kids, and I would say it's totally appropriate for kids. Yeah, like this is a game for babies. I was not joking.
Oh yeah, well maybe you guys can finally put down Lego Star Wars, Patrick, and you can get this for Magnus. Pick up the show, have a whole brand new obsession on your hands.
Please do. I would love to. He's gonna start writing fan fiction, and it'll be about Spy Family.
Oh my gosh. Well, after this, they showed off more of the Super Mario RPG remake. I don't know what was new here. Somebody help me out.
They were like, new mechanics. They were like, we're going to show off what's old and what's new. But like, it's like you can go back and refight bosses, but they're going to be a lot harder. Like
that was one of the big things, right? Like a boss gauntlet.
Like a replayability aspect to it.
Something I noticed was they said that when you hit perfect timing on attacks, it'll attack all the enemies at once.
Oh, that's right.
Which was not a thing in the original game.
Some time.
So I'm confused. Like, is that a quality of life like thing that you can toggle on and off? Because if so, like, I'm going to keep that off because this is not like a hard game to begin with, right? And making it to where every time you hit a perfect timing, it damages all the enemies seems like it would just make the game really easy, right?
That's like not even a thing in like Paper Mario or the Mario and Luigi games. Like, if you perfect timing is like a crit hit. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that was a little confusing. They didn't go into a ton of detail on that, but so I hope that's not the case. Hopefully that's something you can toggle. But they have shown on like the Japanese website for this that there are some toggleable options in here. Like you can go between the original Super Nintendo music or the reorchestrated music. So there's like some quality of life stuff for this port that they just outright haven't said yet. So I'm holding out hope that they're not just dumbing down an already kind of baby's first RPG even more, right? But I think, I mean, this looks great. I'm definitely picking this up.
Yeah. Like that being said, it's like whatever they do, I will buy this and check it out no matter what.
Next up's another interesting one that I also don't know a lot about, but another code. These are another remake, right? Like of a game, and I don't know a lot about this, but was like it's like a couple of games, right? In this, it's like a collection. It's being published by Nintendo.
I just feel like every direct, there's like some game that they're like, we're remaking this, we're bringing it to the Switch. And then like there's 500 people that I've never heard talk about that game before be like, holy shit, I can't believe they're bringing that game. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never heard about this I've never heard of her in my life. So apologies to the hardcore Another Code fans.
Yeah.
Well, when people started to say that, I was like, this happens every time.
Well, this was released in the US. The first game anyway was released in the US as Trace Memory for the Nintendo DS. Right.
Okay.
And the sequel, which was released in Europe and in Japan, which over in both of those areas was called Another Code, was a Wii only. Was for the Wii, but it was only there. So we never got that here in the West. So it's like, and this looks like a pretty good remake. I mean, Trace Memory is. I think it's by the same developers as what is that room?
Hotel Dusk, Room
Hotel
215.
Dusk. That's right. Yeah, Hotel Dusk. And there was actually going to be a Trace Memory Hotel Dusk crossover game that was eventually canceled. But this is kind of like, this looks like a really good remake. You know, the first game on the DS was like a kind of like a point and click adventure mystery kind of visual novel style game, and this looks like they're totally remaking it from the ground up in 3D. It looks pretty fucking awesome. I'm pretty interested in this.
I'm not gonna lie, I did play this game back in the day.
Sorry about what I said.
No, it's totally fine. It's one of those games like I played when I was in like high school, and I totally forgot that it existed. And when I was like, is this Trace? And I was like searching the Rolodex of my brain from like many years ago to try to figure out what this game was that I knew I played, and it looked familiar, and I remember enjoying it. It's like when the DS came out and there were certain developers that didn't know exactly how to work with the touchscreen, this being a point and click adventure game, I remember playing it and being like, no, this works. Like this works really well for this format. That being said, I don't remember almost anything about this game. I just remember that I played it because I had a little cart for my DS and I would play anything for $0 hairs beyond the cart. So, but it's cool. It's cool. I actually probably will pick this up just to like, I remember it being fun to play, and that since I've been playing through Phoenix Wright, I'm like more in that mode of like visual novel point and click style games. So yeah, I'll probably check this out. And the fact that like there's a second one that never came here, just always interesting to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to pick it up too. I mean, I feel like this was out. Like, when did this game come out? The original one. Let me see.
2005, February 24th in Japan. And then in US, it came out in September.
Right. I just remember like seeing the box art like when I worked at like GameStop a lot. It was like, and I was like, oh, this looks like so interesting. And I did download this game as well, Jordan, like you said a while ago. But yeah, no, I mean, it looks great. I've only heard good things about it, and it looks like a really competent port. And I'd love to support like bringing back weirdo first party Nintendo games like this. Like this is a really good pattern, and I'm really happy to see stuff like this happen. I'll put this in the camp of like the Famicom Detective Club remakes and stuff like that, right? Like this is kind of that niche audience is kind of getting fed for both of these games.
What's interesting is that the developer for this game is defunct now. So, or of the originals at least, right? And that these are now like voucher eligible, or this game is voucher eligible.
Yeah, so it's being published by Nintendo at least.
Yeah.
Do we know who's developing it?
Yeah, that's a weird question. It doesn't. I was just looking on the eShop to try to figure that out because Sing, who made the originals, does not exist.
Whoa.
So I don't know. Off the top of my head, from just quick looking.
I mean, it says here on Gematsu.
Sing,
I don't know,
but
that was the original. That was the original.
So they might be
right?
crediting them too. Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably like an internal Nintendo dev team, right? Which is pretty wild. Yeah. It's cool.
So after that, we got the info about the Princess Peach game. We got the title. We got the all the things. Princess Peach Showtime. We get to be sword fighter Peach and there's what's the word? The baker?
Patissier?
Patissier. That's the one I cannot say.
I think they said in the thing,
but
he pronounced it a little weird. Yeah, it was like patisserie.
He pronounced it patissier.
Yeah, it was weird. I've never heard it like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sommelier.
I don't know. This looks like it could be fun. They showed a decent amount of this. Also another game that's farther out than I thought.
Expected.
Yeah, like March.
Comes out on Robert Segovia's birthday, apparently.
Which we all know. We don't even need to say the date.
We totally just doxed Robert Segovia. Like all his medical records are easily counterfeitable now.
He did it to himself. Anyway, I don't know. It just looks nice and looks fun. I don't know. It's still a little bit of a mystery of like what the game actually is going to be like, other than just these different outfits. It looks like it's going to be varied gameplay. I would say maybe one thing we could say, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah,
that's what kind of gives me a little bit of pause of this game, to be honest. I'm like a little cautiously. I'm cautious about this game right now. It kind of feels to me like, I mean, it looks cool, and I'm really glad Peach is getting her own game, and it's like about time that Peach got her own game that's not just about her emotions. You know what I mean? Yeah, now instead of Peach has emotions, it's Peach has a bunch of jobs.
Peach has a bunch of different cute outfits, right? I'm having like this weird, like, am I a bad feminist moment? I'm like, no, like,
but at least the outfits aren't just like all pretty dresses, like, right?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
they're sword fighting.
They definitely made.
We've got some
tomboy
Peaches in there.
They literally did that on purpose. Of like, the very first outfit we're going to show off is that she's in pants, right? Like. We get it.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But I mean,
I was having that thought from the beginning of like, okay, so if it's not emotions, what's it going to be? Oh, well, ribbon, you know?
Yeah. Doing a little play. Oh.
I know.
But no, I mean, beyond that, I mean, which is fine. I think it's fine, and I'm a feminist, so I'm allowed to say that. But I think beyond that, this feels to me like it's a little bit of a jack of all trades, master of none thing, right? It's like it seems like each of these different outfits and plays and scenes that Peach does has its own style of gameplay, which is then like, okay, so am I just going to be doing that for like this one? This kind of reminds me of like Kirby Superstar or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, which is, an amazing game. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just like, this doesn't, I just kind of thought with a Peach game, it would be very much like, okay, oh yeah, this is like what the gameplay of the Peach game is like. This just feels like it's a bunch of little game ideas all thrown into one. So I don't know how much that's going to like really hold my attention.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. It'd be great if it's just like a lot of variety, and that's a good thing. But I'm a little cautious about this game.
I feel like, to me, I mean, the whole theatrical element of it, the way it read to me is that every act of the play has a different style of gameplay. And so I'm hoping that, it's like, oh, okay, cool. This like world, which will be an act in this game, this is like the mystery section where you're Sherlock Holmes Peach. I don't know. I don't remember the names of any
Detective
of these
Peachachu.
Yes. So I'm kind of cautiously optimistic in that sense. Like, and then also kind of codes to me as like Super Mario Brothers 3, which is like the theatrical version. So I'm kind of curious. I'm curious for more. And y'all say it's coming out later than you thought. It's coming about exactly when I thought, because they said 2024. Same. Yeah. And then it's like March 2024. Robert Segovia's birthday, 2024. It feels about exactly where I thought it would come out. I was like, not before summer, but after like the first 2 months.
No, it's after Summer's birthday. It's on Robert Segovia's birthday. It's before my birthday.
We're talking about 2024, then it's before my birthday.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a January game. I thought it was going to be like early or in the year. That's why I said it's coming a little later, just because they showed it in June.
Yeah.
But also, real quickly, I think
but when they showed it in June, it had no title and we had no idea what the fuck it was.
They literally
so I thought we're going to find out.
We are feminists because a game about a woman's coming out, but we aren't going to say anything else about it. Okay, bye. Here's Luigi.
Dude, Nintendo is over party.
Cosplay ? It's like that's what I saw when I was watching it.
So I'm sorry, Patrick. I know you wanted to say something, but since Jordan said the word cosplay, that's what I was going to say. So here's the deal. Am I going to play this game? Still unsure. Am I going to cosplay from this game? 100%. Am I going to cosplay an outfit we haven't seen yet? Probably. I cannot wait to see what other outfits that they're going to have, because like while I'm already leaning towards the sword fighter Peach, I'm like, but when this game comes out, there's going to be some other outfit that drops that we're all going to lose our marbles about. I just know it.
I don't think this game is going to be hard. I think this game is for kids.
No,
so I don't think any of us are going to be like, I think it could be very well be a very good game. I just like watched my kid watch the whole direct. He's like, I'm most excited about the Peach game.
Cool.
I think that's what, is going to be a lot of kids.
And Spy X Family.
A lot of kids are going to be excited about this game. I think it's a very kid appealing game. So that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Very good.
A new Saga game was announced next. I don't know if anybody's excited about Saga Emerald Beyond coming in 2024.
Once we get more information about it.
Maybe.
I wasn't a bit fan of the look of I didn't like the graphics on this game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, we'll move on to the Tomb Raider. I don't care.
Speaking of not liking the graphics,
I'm gonna download it, install it, and uninstall it over and over again just to fuck them over.
It's the Tomb Raider collection. Tomb Raider 1 through 3 was given a lot of time in this direct. It felt like coming out on Valentine's Day for you and your special someone to play on the Switch.
Her boobs are smoothed out, so that's perfect for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I can't do V-Day without some smooth boobs, man. I can't do triangles.
This is just another one of those collections that's coming late in the Switch where if you are even interested in it, it's kind of like, when are we going to find about backwards compatibility? I don't know.
This like collection though is like feels to me so lazy. When you look at like the Spyro collection or the Crash Bandicoot collection, it's like these games look good. The upscale, and they even do back and forth. It does not look that much different. It looks like you just like put it in an emulator and smoothed all of the textures.
It's hard to tell what's the old game and what's the remaster.
If anything, like the remastering like makes it lose its charm. Like what's nice about Tomb Raider is that the boobs are pointy. Like that's what's great about it. Yes, someone should say it. I'm going to say it.
Thank you.
As soon as it came on,
well, as a feminist, I would never say that, but yes.
As a boob enjoyer, I will say it. It's weird. It's weird. And that for that reason, it feels like a cash grab that they're calling it an HD remaster, and it does just feel like, Jordan, like you were saying, just weirdly smoothed out. But you can also revert back. Like, just come on.
I tell you why. Because it's Aspire is doing this. Aspire. This is the amount of effort that Aspire puts into any game that they make. So just know that going forward. And I can shit on Aspire because my friend who used to work there got fired by them. So fuck Aspire. But
my homies hate Aspire.
Yeah, exactly. But honestly, though, I'm gonna get this. Like this, I'm really happy about this, and I'm not just saying that because I'm editing the Tomb Raider show. Like, I think that this, like
everyone buy it, please.
yeah, everyone, please. Yeah, we need a season 2. But I like it. I don't think his games have really been re-released. Like, at least not recently, and definitely not on modern platforms. And from what I hear too, the controls are being reworked, which is the main thing that makes those games hard to revisit, right? So even if it just had the original graphics and better controls, I would be getting this collection. This seems like a no-brainer pickup. I'm excited, even if it looks like ass.
All right, we'll move on to Detective Pikachu Returns.
Speaking of being excited, even though things look like ass. Just kidding. I can't bring myself to be interested.
You can't be excited about it?
I love Pokemon. I liked the first one, and I can't get excited about this.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, we can move on then.
Moving on.
The one thing I'll say is that during my stream of the Direct, both Hans and I had the same exact thought, which was, oh, they put this after the Tomb Raider game so that the graphics in Detective Pikachu would look better in comparison.
Yeah.
And I think that's 100% why they did that. Yeah.
Bingo.
Y'all are so hard on this game. I don't know. I'll be the one torchbearer. I hate Pokemon. I'll say it, but I'm excited to play this with my kid. I use the H word. That might be too strong. I just don't care about Pokemon. But
you said you hate it, and we will always stuck remember.
With it. You know what's so funny? Yeah. We do a podcast every week. I talk for 2 hours. I say so many stupid things, y'all. Please don't drag me for saying I hate Pokemon.
It's okay to hate things that brings millions joy, Patrick.
It's okay to hate the #1 franchise of all time in the entire world and the entire
It's okay to
history.
hate the company.
Okay.
And what they do.
I really don't hate it. It was just a poor word choice. I just don't care.
It was
Patrick,
funny. You were making a point.
You love the sinner, you hate the sin. Okay?
The next announcement.
Speaking of sinners.
Because we are moving on, is Trombone Champ was shown off for the Switch.
Let's
coming out. Already out, right? This was one of the shadow drops.
Yeah.
I don't know. This looks like it could be a fun party game when they showed the 4 people playing it. It's got the IR sensor with the Switch. I don't know if it would hold my attention for very long past the party element. I don't know. Has anybody played this?
Yeah.
No.
I have this on my Steam Deck. So I feel like I could speak a little bit to it as a Switch game. It's great. I mean, it's, it's definitely a gimmicky game, right? But it's fun, and I imagine it would be totally chaotic with 4 people, which is one thing that Steam Deck can't do. But originally this game on PC, it was made as a PC game. The idea was you play it with the mouse by moving the mouse forward and back like you're holding a trombone, you know what I mean? And you're moving it like that. So the way that I play on the Steam Deck is you just kind of tilt it with the with the gyro, right? And so the Switch has those controls. You can tilt the Joy-Con either connected to the system or off of the system. Also, it uses the IR sensor for depth to and from the Joy-Con, which is a kind of as close as you can get to doing a real trombone as you can with Trombone Champ. So
just like playing trombone.
It's just like playing a
trombone.
You have to have your embouchure where you're like or whatever. And then but also of note, the first of 2 games that featured the IR sensor in this Direct.
That was interesting.
7.5 years into the Switch's lifespan, they finally remembered that fucking thing exists. Yeah. Pretty silly. But anyway.
For podcast listeners, David is moving his hand back and forth to the camera, and if it was a 3D effect, it would look very cool.
Just another reason to subscribe to the YouTube, baby.
We got a few games here. We might go through fast, but stop me if you're interested in any of these. Battle Crush, War Tales, a new Contra game, Contra Operation Galuga.
This is another, man, so many fucking old school remakes in this. This Contra game is being done by Way Forward, which, Way Forward are amazing developers, but it's like they're just remaking the first Contra game, and it kind of looks like bad.
Yeah,
it doesn't look very good. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just so many like GBA and like NES remakes in this. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
No, you're fine. Unicorn Overlord was the next one. You want to talk about this one, Summer? You got something to say?
So we didn't get a Fire Emblem game,
but we got a return to classic strategy RPG.
Yeah, what did they say?
That's such a funny thing for them to say. It feels like a weird dig. It's almost like Atlas is like challenging intelligent systems. Then they're trying to say like, hey, that genre that like y'all do, we're gonna do it better.
Yeah, it's like the return of turn-based
tactical games.
Fantasy
they like made
games,
this statement, and you know what? I'm gonna play it. You're telling me SMT Persona people are making like a game of my favorite genre. Now, don't get me wrong, we are getting Persona 5 Tactica later this year, which I will play. But like, this is just the name. Like, when are the unicorns gonna come in? Like, I can't wait.
And the horse that spins around has a unicorn like mask on it. I don't know how I feel about that. The graphics in this personally. But,
I love the graphics.
I don't care. I'm gonna play it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, this is a Vanillaware game, and Vanillaware are awesome developers. They did Aegis Rim 13 Sentinels. So that game came out recently.
People love that.
Yeah, that's on the Switch. That did really, really well and reviewed really, really well. They don't make a ton of games, but every game that they make, they spend a long time doing it, and they're all like super, super polished and reviewed really well. Like Dragon's Crown, for I think the PS3 and Vita. I had that game on the Vita. That game rocks. Muramasa the Demon Blade, Odin Sphere, Grim Grimoire. Like, they've done a lot of really classic RPGs, and they all have this art style, and they all have really good looking food.
Patrick, it's okay if you don't like the art style.
No, it's not so much that I don't mind. I actually think the art is fine. There's just, I think the animations are weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of they've got like a style to it, right? But
it doesn't.
I don't know. I love it. I just think it's like, I love how detailed and like 2D it all looks, and I like that there's not like a ton of pants being worn in this as well. That was interesting to me as a feminist. But I
feminist episode.
Yeah, look, like I'm a leg and booty enjoyer. I'm sorry. No, I mean, this looks great. I'm probably, am I going to play this? Probably not, but I think it looks fantastic, and I'm excited for summer is what I'm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, like after we got done clowning about Fire Emblem, I distinctly remember someone in a Discord being like, so we're all getting Unicorn Overlord though, right? And everybody it was like a resounding like, oh yeah, no, we'll do this. Yeah.
It looks fantastic.
What a name too. Unicorn Overlord.
Mm-hmm. It's
Excellent
memorable.
name.
It's different. Yeah. It's different enough that you're not going to get it confused with something else. So that's like,
I just was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is the Fire Emblem replacement, because they knew they weren't putting Fire Emblem in it. So they just put this in there instead. Yeah. And it does look incredible.
To satisfy us.
Yeah. It's just to satisfy the Fire Emblem fans. That's all. Mm-hmm. That's all I was thinking the whole time I was watching this trailer. I was like, oh, we're definitely not getting any Fire Emblem this entire direct. That's all I could think the whole time. And I was like, I'm so sorry, Summer.
Up next is the very clever name, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, coming out next summer of 2024. So that's weird. It's a bit of a bummer to see that this isn't a packet, or at least I guess we still have another while to wait, but doesn't seem like this is going to be, Luigi's Mansion 1 and 2, like there was a little speculation about. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of additions to it or anything. I don't know. I'm excited to play it, but I don't know how I feel about it coming where it's coming, and not getting more of a treatment, maybe.
Have they announced the price for this yet?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know
I
that
feel
they
like it's
said
going
it's
to be
up for
30
pre-orders.
bucks. And once it's 30, and I'm like, nah,
If its
I'm good.
price
Hard
is
pass.
low, maybe that's good.
If your price is 20, maybe, but like,
it's not going to be 20. There's no way.
it's not, like I know it's not, because what was Pikmin 1 and 2?
It's 50 together, right?
Ah,
Wasn't it?
dude.
Or 40?
Yeah,
maybe? It might have
I
been
don't know.
40.
Anyway,
Might have been 40 actually.
40 bucks for 1 and 2.
Right.
Phenomenal deal. I would buy this, but for 30 bucks for this, if it's 40, like absolutely not, get out of here. But yeah, and it does. I mean, it's like I've played this game and I like this game, but I still have this on the 3DS. I can pop it in whatever, and it feels better probably on the 3DS because it has a little bit of touch functionality. But and I mean, it's cool that they're keeping the multiplayer. There was multiplayer into on
yeah, I was gonna
3DS.
ask.
So it's cool that that is, and that actually would be pretty cool on the Switch. But I mean, summer 2024.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
It's wild, dude. There's
Get outta
no
here.
need for this game to be in
Why was
development
this
for that long.
announced a year before it's going to come out? And
Yeah.
it's a port. No, get out of here.
It's weird.
Also weird that they're just calling it Luigi's Mansion 2 and not Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which is what it was released as in the States. Europeans eating good this direct for some reason. Like, trace memory got changed to another code. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon changed to Luigi's Mansion 2, which was in Europe. So it's kind of strange.
Next up was a non-game announcement. They announced the Nintendo Museum is going to be opening in March of next year in Japan with this sort of strange cutaway or zoom out of the roof of the building where, and then some concept art or whatever for the building too, or like, something made in some sort of like architecture software. I don't know. How do we feel about Nintendo Museum? How do we feel about this being in the Direct, or are we, I don't know. What do y'all think about this?
Almost feels weird to put in the Western Direct, if I'm being honest. Like, it's coming at a time that it's like, I can't plan a vacation to Japan in March of next year to try to go to this.
It was weird
Yeah.
to be in the US. Or yes, I agree with that. That's, again, my son was like, "Oh, that's cool,"
'Cause
and I'm
that's
like,
how
"We're
it
not
made me
going
feel.
to Japan."
I expected, because I partially expected it to be like 2025 because it was in our Direct. Does that make sense? And then, so then when they said like March 2024, I was like, well, why are you telling me?
I mean, it's not going to only be there for 1 month. Like, it'll be there forever, probably, or at least
I
for a
hope
while.
so,
Yeah,
because
I think
I'm
so.
so used to so many of these kinds of like specialty things. I guess I'm used to the Pokemon company being like, and we're doing this special thing that's going to be this month and it's only in this prefecture. And I'm like, cool. That means nothing to me living in middle of fucking nowhere, United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think this is going to be permanent based on this, but that's just a gut feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's apparently like an old Nintendo plant of some sort that they're like converting into this. To me, this
cool.
reads as like two things. One, it's tourism in Japan. We're back, baby.
Yeah.
Come visit. Like, let's go. That's one. Two, it reads as when we have a big to do about the Florida park opening with Super Nintendo or Mario section, we're gonna make a big to do about it. So this is kind of just, to me, it feels like preparation for that.
Is the Florida park still happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, I'm not as super up on this as I should be, but Universal is opening a third park. So, they have right now Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. They're opening a full third park. And if I am remembering correctly, Mario is going to be part of that third park. And it's going to be like a bigger section than the one that they opened in California. So, anyway.
That makes me sad as someone who just doesn't want to go to Florida anymore. Okay. Because that's going to make me want to go. Darn.
Look,
I'm with you.
Orlando's not Florida. You could just pop in and
You
pop
say that, but they suffer from. Anyway.
No, I'm joking. It totally is Florida. It sucks.
Yeah. Like, it sucks
we
for
live
Orlando.
in Texas and Oklahoma too.
No.
We move
We'll go
on.
one day anyway.
The next up was the Amiibo announcement: the Zelda Amiibo, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Amiibos, and Sora, the final Smash Ultimate amiibo coming out sometime in 2024. But we're blazed past that to get to the big one, y'all. This is the one we want to talk about. F-Zero 99 was announced. It happened. We got a new F-Zero game, and well,
it is a new game. It's a brand new game.
The way I laughed, the way I chortled don't get me wrong, I'm excited. Like I was excited and I love this game. But the way that I was like, this is the new F-Zero game we're getting. All right, okay.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of people hyped. So
this is the first new F-Zero game in 20 years.
20 years. They made a point of saying that. Yeah.
All these F-Zero rumors, obviously, maybe we were hoping for a new game or like something maybe bigger than this. But honestly, this is pretty great. The Super Nintendo F-Zero, selfishly, is my F-Zero. It's the one I've played the most and comfortable with. So like super into this.
So you're already comfortable with all the tracks, huh?
Yeah, I am. And like I finally like played some of the pro ones. Oh, I don't know if we should talk about that. But okay. Yes. I remember all this.
This game is incredible.
It's good.
And it's really, really good. And I know everybody really wanted an F-Zero GX remaster, and I still want that. And I think
it could happen now.
And I think it's more likely to happen now than ever. This feels like a lot of this feels like Nintendo being like, okay, we're going to put out a free thing and see how many people are engaged. And I tell you what, gang, nothing has made me fucking happier in my godforsaken life than going on social media and seeing everybody talking about F-Zero.
Yeah, it's big.
Like, this has got to be the most played F-Zero game ever.
I think it's the best. I know you're a Tetris lover. But
it's the best
I think
99.
this is the best I think this is the best. I almost said Fortnite. This is the best battle royale. It's the best Fortnite game. It's the best battle royale game that they've put out.
I ultimately disagree with you. I still love Tetris 99 more. I think Tetris
it's more
99
accessible?
is just. Yes, I agree. Tetris 99 for me is like a perfect game. Like, it's like, it's exactly what I want out of a video game, right?
Well, and that's how I feel about this and the way that it's designed and all the different aspects.
Totally, yeah, and I'm not arguing with you.
How the ticket system works and
yeah. So like, there's an actual tutorial in this game. Like, it's laid out well. It's like it's not made by Arika, right? Who made Mario 35, Tetris 99, Pac-Man 99. This is made by Nintendo Software Technology, I believe, is their name, who made the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, who have done a bunch of other games, right? So this is a different team. This is actually a Western team that made this game, right? Not a Japanese developer, which is currently like working on Tekken 8 or whatever, and like did the Tetris Grandmaster games. Like this is a company that's a little more in tune with what people want out of a battle
online
royale,
game,
right? Yeah, exactly. So they're fucking killing it. I think it's great. I think it's amazing to see so many people playing F-Zero right now. I think this has breathed new life into the franchise. I am hopelessly addicted to this game. I have basically done nothing else other than like eat and poop than play this game since it came out. Like, and I think the funniest thing, I'll stop. I'll let you guys talk in a second. But I think that the funniest thing to me is seeing F-Zero fans out there, and there's been a cycle with every single one of them, and they're all like, man, fuck this. We didn't get a new game. Like, oh, this looks so stupid. The SNES F-Zero is the worst F-Zero, which is true. And they're like, oh man, this is awful. And then they play it and they're like, oh, this is actually really fucking good. And it's like, yeah, dude, everybody's totally hooked. I love it. Anyway.
I think that's hilarious because that was your cycle. And I saw it in real time on the Discord. I'm just going to read a message. 9/14/2023, 2:26 p.m. Monolith Fiji. Don't know if I love F-Zero 99? !4. But it's early yet. I like it in theory, but its presentation is blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, and then it's just like literally David talking about F-Zero 99 for like the next 4 days straight.
Pretty much, yeah.
I love that, dude.
When I'm not playing the game, I am watching YouTube videos on the game. It is I am like brain fucked by F-Zero 99. It's all I can think about. I love it so much.
Ultimately, I just like hope that this shows renewed interest in the franchise and that we get the bounty hunting game.
I think it really is gonna work that way. I mean, I don't want to bank on it, but it is. People are playing it, and I think it's really well designed. And we've talked about it for a long time that either Twisted Metal or F-Zero should have done a battle royale. It just makes so much sense. And and F-Zero did it. And the way they did it, maybe we can quibble with little things, but I think it's really great.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to play more of it because I haven't had as much chance to play as I want.
Can I say one more thing on it before we move on? I apologize.
Please.
I want some fucking haters to shut the fuck up. One thing that everybody is saying right now is like, oh yeah, this is fun, but how long until Nintendo kills it? Okay, look, extenuating circumstances. All right. First of all, Super Mario Bros. 35. I grieve the loss of that game every goddamn day. I say a little prayer before I go to bed, and I ask for Nintendo to bring it back. All right, but let's get real. They said when that game came out that it was a limited run game, right? They have made no such claim on this. Also, people are like, yeah, well, Pac-Man 99 is closing down because not a lot of people are playing it. Kind of. That's not a Nintendo game. That is a Bandai Namco game. Nintendo is hosting it on Nintendo Switch Online. They made a deal with Bandai Namco. But Bandai Namco made that game. But, there's all that paid DLC and all the skins or whatever that you get. Like, that's all Bandai Namco's call, right? They're the ones deciding to bring that game down because it's not hitting their internal whatever, right? So I don't think Nintendo's going to be bringing this game down. I think it's going to be up for as long as Tetris 99 is up, which hopefully is forever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. It really does feel, and I don't know, but it really does feel like potentially the one that might have a lot of draw.
Staying power.
Power, yeah, that's the word. Well, they use this as an excuse to hawk their SNES controller for NSO, of course. And moving on, then we got a couple of League of Legends offshoot games. Man, they are just pumping these out, and they are in every genre and every art style. It's crazy.
They got that arcane money.
Yeah.
That's basically what you want to do with Monochrome Heist.
Yeah. I mean, sort of, but maybe not like this divergent of gameplay and stuff, right? Like, it's kind of crazy. I don't know if it's working for them. We'll see.
They have unlimited money, so they can just try whatever they want.
I just wonder if people are playing these or not. But anyway, that's another day. WarioWare Move It. A little more here about that. November 3rd. I don't know. Is there anything new here that's worth talking about for WarioWare? I don't think so.
I love it. I'm picking it up day one. This looks fucking fantastic. We got a new little audio peek at the new voice actor for Wario here. Sounds good. Looks great. More IR usage. There's some IR use on
the point of showing that off.
Yeah. It looked like a dude was shoving a Joy-Con up his butt at one point.
That was a joke.
Yeah. So, can't wait for this game. It looks fantastic.
Ayuden Chronicle, 100 Heroes. I don't know.
Looks anime. Sure. Can't wait to hear about it more.
Eastward is going to have a farming sim DLC that's also standalone you can buy. It's happening.
So random.
This is a fascinating idea, though. I mean, make a DLC to a game that is set after the end of the game and is a completely different genre and a whole different style of game, but fits within the story of the game as a sequel. It's a very interesting, fascinating concept. I'd kind of like to see more people do that. It's pretty cool.
Then Wargroove is getting a sequel. I know a lot of people really enjoyed Wargroove 1. This isn't my type of game. I don't know if anybody here wants to talk about this one, but
I just can't believe they're bringing this back so soon after Vanillaware and Atlas brought back the fantasy tactics game. It's like, man, everybody's just coming up with these things at the same time. Crazy stuff.
Looks like it's got a pretty robust map making, cutscene making thing, which is pretty cool. Just like to see that. Game I've heard a lot about, but not played myself. Dave the Diver. I've heard a lot of good things about this game.
Looks fun.
Got announced for the Switch. Again, I'm not too familiar with it, but a lot of people I've heard say they really like it. So
it's very popular on Steam. I've been hearing a lot of potential game of the year chatter around Dave the Diver. No joke. People really, really love this game on Steam.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. So that's cool. That's coming to the Switch. Makes sense. And then we got the Mario Kart 8. Finally got our info about the last wave here. coming out in holiday. I don't know. They showed off what, like a Daisy track, Wii Daisy Circuit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the only one they specifically named. Correct me if I'm wrong. But then they showed off the characters. More characters than I thought were coming, but the ones we thought for sure, right?
Yeah.
Good guess on that. Whoever David, I think that was.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Other people?
I did not think we would be getting more than 2 characters.
Oh, no, I meant the specifics of Diddy Kong and Funky
Oh,
Kong.
yeah. I did predict Diddy and Funky. I'm glad that came true. Happy about that. And then I was like, man, which one of those is going to be replaced with Pauline? You know, because I was like, there's no way they're not putting Pauline in this. And then they just did also add Pauline, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And
Peachette for some reason.
That was the one that was surprising. I was like,
Why?
oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Because I was also like, I was on the hype
Dixie.
of Pauline, and then they announced Peachette, and I was like, sure. I
can't believe Peachette took Navit's spot. Totally unbelievable.
I mean, I think it's great. There's, another woman is probably what they were thinking, but like it just would have made much more sense to get Dixie Kong in there, in my opinion.
And that just got me thinking about Bowsette again. So let's just not bring Peachette up unless you're making
agree.
Bowsette
Literally,
canon.
my thought was like, damn, we'll never see Bowsette. This is like them reiterating that, like, you're going to get Peachette and you're going to like it.
Yeah. I forgot the Super Crown was a thing until you
Yeah.
brought Peachette back up.
Right?
Well, just to round out the direct, there's an Among Us new map. They did their sizzle reel, though I just want to point out that this sizzle reel was different and it felt different. They had games that were in the direct, games that I thought might be in the direct, but weren't, like Super Mario Bros. Wonder. A lot of first party stuff and reiterating stuff that was in it, which usually this is like a bunch of like quick third party hits that hadn't been mentioned. So it's just interesting to see that. And then we close out the direct with the one last thing, which is Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door remake, right? Or is it a remake? I have not.
This
gotten
looks like a
clarity,
full-ass remake.
but it sure looks like a remake.
Yep.
Based
It's
on a lot of those camera angles
in the
there, it sure
visuals
looks
and
like-
stuff. It looks like it. Okay, that's what I
Well,
thought.
I mean, Metroid Prime Remaster was a
Right.
remaster, but it felt like a full remake. And that's why I was like so confused, because I'm like, if it's a remake, I feel like they're decent about saying remake.
they didn't.
What do y'all think?
They didn't say here, but it just feels like it
Yeah.
visually.
It also has no release date and looks really pretty. You think this is a Switch 2 game?
They gave us
Bro.
the window of 2024. I don't think so. I don't think they're making games that are exclusively not going to be on Switch. They're showing off here. It could be a straddler, or again, if there's backwards compatibility or something. What do you disagree? That's fine.
No, I mean, I just thought it looked really, really good. I was like, this looks like better than a Switch game to me.
Mm.
You know?
I mean, it's paper.
Yeah.
It's not literally.
I don't know. I'm with you, Summer. I'm like, yeah, this could
There's
definitely.
plenty
run
of
on
games
the
that look
Switch.
really pretty. Yeah.
No, sure. Yeah. All
This
right.
to me feels like
I get what you're going for, but
Yeah.
like the month before Switch 2 comes out, they release this game and it's backwards compatible. That's like what this feels like to me. But I don't think they explicitly said coming to Switch, did
Mhm.
they?
Well,
is that what we're picking apart?
I think that when they
Well,
announce these
yeah.
directs, they say Switch games. And
Do they?
they usually do. They're like 40 minutes of announcements, but maybe this time they didn't. So I don't have it in front of me, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, it looks great. I'm really happy for Arlo. This is like $150 GameCube game used. If you want to buy this now, like the fucking
Yeah.
the resale price of this has gone insane.
Oh yeah, just
Right,
for
so it's
accessibility,
like-
it's great that it's
Yeah. And from everything I understand, this is by far the best Paper Mario game. So it's really exciting to have this come out. Yeah.
As soon as the book was on the table in the direct, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I know this like
That's how
saved-
tied I am to the game. Yeah,
Yeah. This saved the direct for a lot of people.
I don't. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say that I was actually very surprised by this announcement because of its of how close it is to the Super Mario RPG remake. Because when that was announced in the last direct, I was like, all right, I guess we're not getting that Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door remake like anytime soon. So for this to get announced so quickly after that, I was like, oh, I guess I know nothing. And So just to loop back to something that I said earlier in the episode, then I'm joking about how we kind of got Fire Emblem. So there is a little line in the original Thousand Year Door by a toad in one of the villages about how like I'm playing this awesome Nintendo game lately. It's called Fire Emblem. But somebody actually like saw that moment, like, or where that moment happens in the trailer, and saw that toad is not in that spot where it used to be, the one that talks about Fire Emblem in this remake. So Fire Emblem actually is not.
It's canceled.
And yeah, it's just over, I think.
No, I mean,
It's a joke.
I mean, they're both intelligent systems games, right? Like,
yes, it's an intelligent systems game.
Yeah. But I bet it'll be like, there's a new game, Fire Emblem Genealogy, the Holy War remake. Like,
holy shit! If they did that, that would be fucking. Oh my god! I'm playing this new game. It's called Fire Emblem. Yeah, that would be nuts.
I think for me, I'm like, when was the last actually new Mario RPG style game to come out? And it's like
Origami King, right?
I would argue that is not very RPG heavy. Like I
level up and you have a party.
And there's battles.
And it's also not very good. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that game rocked. I love that game.
It's good.
Everybody shits on that
battles
game. I thought that game was
No,
great.
this is the trouble that Paper Mario has had, is that everybody wanted the Thousand Year Door, and the team wanted to continue to make funny new things, but then Nintendo started to get even more like iron grippy on the IP. So they never really fully got to return to what they did with the Thousand Year Door. This is a rant for another day. But like, that doesn't mean those other games are bad. It's just like not what a lot of the Thousand Year Door fans wanted.
Well, I think like the happy medium was the Mario and Luigi series, which I'm like a massive fan of those games. And the last truly like original Mario and Luigi game came out in 2013. It was Dream Team. I mean, you could count Paper Jam, but I mean, like, Dream Team, I think, in my opinion, is the last like classic RPG style Mario game to come out. So it's just interesting to see like two classic style RPG games coming out, but they're both remakes. And my dream of dreams is that this like pushes forward, like, oh, we're gonna make an actual new classic Mario RPG. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Well, I think we should wrap this up. I think we wanted to mention that there were a lot of games in the Japanese version of the Direct that weren't, or probably vice versa too, right? Like, I would imagine maybe unusually.
Basically, Japan got a whole different Direct. It was like it wasn't like, usually it's like, oh, like one or two games is different. Like there were like 20 or 30 games in the Japanese Direct that were not in our Direct. Some of them are worth bringing up. There's a new Shin-Chan game, the sequel to the most recent Shin-Chan summer vacation game that was out. That's getting a sequel that was shown off here. Hopefully that comes to the West, because I heard that game was fucking fantastic. There's one called Stray
Children.
Stray Children looks
really
fantastic. That's by the creators of Moon. I almost said Love. The creators of Moon, which is like a really offbeat RPG. This looks similarly super offbeat and really weird. There's a bunch of that game that's kind of a spiritual successor to Goemon series was shown off as well for the Switch. There's a whole bunch of really great stuff. There's a Hatsune Miku fitness boxing game, which is
hope that one comes here.
Really exciting. Rose and Camilla Gorgeous Edition, which is a slapping simulator. It's a game where you can just slap people over and over again. Looked really interesting. So there's a lot of really cool looking stuff in this Japanese Direct, and apparently a lot of it is coming over. Like I know Stray Children is getting localized, so it's a little odd that they got so many things there. But definitely look up a list or watch the Japanese Direct if you have a chance, because there's a lot of really interesting stuff in there.
Well, we're going a little long, so we should wrap this up. We like to grade these. Does anybody want to give your letter grade for this Direct? Personally, there's no judgment. It's a subjective thing. Who wants to go first?
I'll start. F099 can't save this from a C+ for me.
Ooh, that bad. All right.
Yeah, I think this is the weakest I think it's it's definitely passing. I mean, there's definitely stuff in here I liked, but man, I've never really played Thousand Year Door, and while I'm excited to try it out, it doesn't have the like nostalgia factor of like, holy shit, we're getting a remake of Thousand Year Door. F-Zero, it's amazing to see a new F-Zero game, man. But that is like far and away the highlight of the Direct for me. And it's a free NSO Battle Royale game, right? So it's like, I would give this a C+ personally.
I'll piggyback. I gave it a C-. I even go one less because, I mean, C's make degrees, don't get me wrong. But like after they talked about Princess Peach Showtime, I was like checked out. And then once F-Zero 99 came, I was like, interesting. Okay, you have my attention. And then I checked out again pretty much until I was like, Dave the Diver, interesting. But then it was like till we got to once they hit the scissor reel and it was all games we already have seen. I was like, this is weird. I don't care. And then Thousand Year Door, I was like, this is sick. Actually, one of the Paper Mario games I've never played. It's like there's two. It's like that one and then Color Splash because I never had a Wii U. But yeah, I mean C- at best. Someone else go.
I'll be nicer than y'all and give it a nice even B. I think F-Zero 99 is I'm personally really excited about. And then all these Mario games look like great fun to play with the family here. And that's real big for me. I feel like we haven't had a lot of great family games. And it feels like a lot of these are going to be games we can play together or pass them back. So I'm excited about that. Summer?
Oh, yeah. I was starting to think like I might be sitting between David and Jordan at a C for this.
Yes.
Because
do it.
like even before you guys both said your C+ and C-, I was like thinking, I think I'm a solid C. Because and this is someone who is a diehard Thousand Year Door fan, like, but I'm a little.
You played it.
I've played it, and I'm excited for other people to play it. I'm absolutely going to play it again. I'm really excited to revisit it, sure. And I'm loving F-Zero, but nothing was shocking to me during this. And maybe that's just like this current state of the internet that we like live on too.
Yeah. It's very
right?
safe direct.
Yeah. That's what it felt like to me. The one more, because it was like the one more thing, right? And for it to be that, was I surprised? Yes. Was I surprised enough to be like, holy fucking shit? Nah. But I'm gonna play it. Yeah. Solid C.
C. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, like, not mad about it.
Well, I think it's the end of the Switch too a little bit. So maybe we couldn't expect too much, but we should move on. If we always like hearing from our listeners and viewers, so definitely let us know what you thought of the Direct. There's something we glossed over, or if you've got a rating for us, share it, and we'll shout you out next time if we can. And with that, we'll take another short break and talk about the games we've been playing recently. All right, so I really haven't had a lot of time to play a lot of games, and I've been really excited to play F-Zero 99. I haven't had a chance to play it very much yet. Last night was my first night to really play a lot of it.
I saw you on the leaderboards.
Still waiting to get that victory. I don't know. It's probably going to take me a little while. I'm still kind of acclimating here, but or maybe it'll just randomly happen. I have the problem of when I get close to winning, risking it all.
That was me day one. I was like,
I'm not coming in fourth
dying.
place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to blow up or I'm going to win, is kind of the problem I'm having. If I'm not like 10 or 25, then, or higher, then I'm like dead.
Yeah.
Like
this is a
the
game
end.
that'll make you check your hubris at the door. Okay. Otherwise you're going out in a pillarous.
But I love that risk reward. I also love, that I am familiar with all these tracks, but that we have this fun little intro section where they all filter down, and those areas are a little bit new. So I'm like getting used to those a little bit. I don't know.
It's like humorously wide. It's like the camera goes across. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like it though. Oh man, just so happy that exists. I don't know. I can't wait to play more of it after we finish recording, actually.
Yeah. I'm gonna. Yeah, absolutely. I'm bummed I have to edit this podcast tomorrow because that's time I won't be playing F-Zero 99. I've also been playing a lot of F-Zero 99. That's been the majority of what I've been playing. I will say the leaderboards for the first week have ended. Ended the first leaderboard on top, baby. I got a little too obsessed with being
What
the
is
best.
this leader? Is it your friends or something?
Yeah,
Or
well,
like-
you can
There's
go
one
between. There's a worldwide, and you can filter it to just friends.
Okay.
And out of all friends, I was on the top. It does just collate your scores of all the Grand Prix that you've done, mainly Grand Prix and Mini Prix that you do. And so really it just means that I probably played more than most people. But like, but it was, but I did get it. I mean, I've finished one Grand Prix in second and one Grand Prix in third. So I've definitely been getting better. I've won a number of actual individual F-Zero 99 races, probably about like 4 or 5 at this point. So it's like, definitely I'm getting better at the game, but it is like, there is a thing with this game where like, if I'm playing it for like 2 hours, by the end of that 2 hours, I'm like nailing it all the time and I'm doing really good. And then I put it down for a few hours or like half a day, and then I pick it up again and I'm just awful until I play it again for like 2 hours and then I get my groove back. So it's like, I've got to get into a zone where I can like pick the game up and actually get wins. Cause now it's like every time it's like a muscle memory thing that I have to like get back in the groove of. It's really difficult.
It's also so intense. Like,
yeah.
And my
heart.
I'm holding. I've yet to play on the TV, which I think I need to do.
It helps, I think. Yeah.
Because I've only played handheld, but like I'm just gripping that Switch,
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty insane. I think we've got until the end. Well, I'm sure we'll do a whole episode on this probably soon. We've been talking about doing a tips and tricks episode, so hopefully we do that soon. So I won't take up too much more time on that. So, but amazing game. I love it so much. We'll talk about that more in the future. I did do a stream where I streamed all the 99 games, so I included F-Zero 99, and I played Tetris 99 and Pac-Man 99. Shout out to the huge 27 Jay, who was in my Pac-Man 99 games, because no one's playing that game right now. It was like it only ever topped out at like 30 players or something like that. So we were able to play all the games together, which was nice. I've been playing a little bit of Lagiart Grimoire, which is another game by Jupiter. This is Jupiter's first non-Picross game. So basically, I think what's happening here, this is actually on Steam. So I picked it up. It's in early access right now. And I think basically what's happening is that Jupiter loves making Picross games, but Nintendo owns the Picross name and license. So I think this is them being like, hey, we would like to put games out not just on Nintendo platforms and see how well they do on other platforms. So they've kind of made their own Picross game with some unique mechanics, but it's mostly just a Jupiter Picross game, like almost verbatim. And even right now in early access has the same music as Picross S8. But it's like, it's them basically experimenting with Steam and not using the Picross name, but putting a Picross thing out there. So I'm really enjoying it. It's like very early access. Like you can, like, it's really cute actually, like how early access it is and like how like much they're looking for feedback, and like, it's like they've never done Steam before and they're like, we don't really know what we're doing. And it's like just watching it being cobbled together in front of my eyes is like really fascinating. So I recommend that. And then lastly, I do just want to say, and I don't know if you were going to say this, Jordan, for your games, but me and Jordan did play a little bit of Android Netrunner, a card game. Jordan came over to my house. Amazing game. Very much like Magic the Gathering, but in a cyberpunk setting. And it's like a, asymmetrical gameplay, but really, really awesome game. It was really good playing that with you, Jordan. But that's what I've been playing recently.
I'll piggyback off that. Yeah, dude, that game is so much fun. Like I literally only know like 2 or 3 people who know how to play that game, because it is like mechanically very heavy when you first learn it, but like the gameplay is so much fun, because like the general idea of it is that one of you is a hacker, one of you is a corporation, and the corporation can pass like agendas. They're supposed to get a certain amount of points, and then the hacker is trying to get those points and steal them from the corporation.
Yeah, you're like hacking into like servers that the corporation is hosting. Yeah, it's really interesting.
so much fun. Never really like took off. Once Fantasy Flight was making the remake of the game, and it kind of lost the license from Wizards of the Coast. But there's some really great tabletop simulator versions of it. Straight up, if anyone in the Discord does know how to play Android Netrunner, or dude, hit me up. I've learned to play it in Tabletop Simulator pretty well. My other friend Zane and I play it pretty frequently. During the course of the pandemic, we just played a bunch. But anyway, sorry. I love that game. I love like physical card games, and that one's so much fun because it's like you're almost building a board as you go. But anyway,
super fun.
I haven't really been playing that much. That's why I'll go really quick. I'm still trying to round out Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I really kind of have hit a wall to the point where I'm like, I am brute forcing my way through the game, but I am kind of turning on the game where I'm like, and I was like, oh, this is a 9 out of 10. But as you get further in the game, I'm like, no, dude, this is like a 7 out of 10 because I'm having to Google how to do shit. And I'm like, it's not very clear within the game parameters that this is how you're supposed to play the game. And I would argue that some of the mechanics that you get introduced to late in the game are like so late in the game, it doesn't really make a difference, or it makes it very confusing to how to navigate the map. And the way that the map system is set up is you only have like a marker, but you can't put any context of what that marker means. So it's like, oh, I don't get for this game in particular, there's an invert, which helps you access places on top of you on the map, but you don't know, so it's like, oh, I've marked all this stuff where this might be used, but I don't know which part of it is. And I just get, it's just like a little bit esoteric. I really don't want to get like so roasted in the Discord, but I'm like, dude, Hollow Knight is better. Like straight up, like, because Hollow Knight does a really good way of funneling you to the right areas and based on the abilities that you have. I am going to finish this game. I don't think I'll do a Zangetsu run. I'm kind of like, week over week, I'm kind of like turning on it a little bit. But the only other game I've really been playing, because I've been like super busy, is Phoenix Wright. I started Case 5 in the original game, the first one. After we met up with all the Switch Heads when Summer, you were in town. And I was like talking to Jay, and Jay was like, yeah, this is like the best case out of the first game. It's just, he warned me, it's long. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But I've started it. I'm about 3/4 of the way through. I think I'm on day 3 now, and I'm loving it, dude. That game continues to pay back in dividends, where it's like every case builds upon the one before it, narratively and structurally. And what a fantastic game. Like,
yes,
I'm so stoked to play 2 and 3. I mean, I got the trilogy on my 3DS, but anyway, that's all I've been playing. Summer, what have you been playing?
Well, I'm unfortunately back into Smash now. So if you guys want to start having some Smash nights, I'm
sounds good.
Very interested. There was a tournament going on this weekend that was specifically for characters exclusively released on the 3DS and Wii U versions. And I was like, this was made for me because I am a Robin main, and I won several in a row and was like, all right, this is cool. Time to do nothing else. But other than that, I'm also playing, I was playing F-Zero 99. Just like word of caution, if your internet goes out or if your power goes out and you're doing a Grand Prix, those tickets are gone and those points are not scored. After losing 6 tickets in a row, I haven't picked it up since then, midday Saturday, but I am otherwise really liking it. My best finish was an 8th place. I have not won one yet. But the mentality that I have about it is like, if I just finish the race, I'm having a good time. Like, it's not even like, this game isn't even about winning for me. It's just like, oh, wow, we finished. Because like in the original, I can never finish a fucking race. And so like now I'm in this mode where it's like with all of these other people online, and it's just fun to finish. And then the only other game, I still squeezed in a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3. I think by the end of this week, I'll be ready to move on from Act 1 and finally start Act 2. That's how long it's taken me. I think I've put 60 hours into it so far. And I still haven't finished. Apparently, there's a whole Underdark area that I have not seen yet. That's still just Act 1. But I'm hoping to get through that this week and hopefully move on with my life. that part of my life in Baldur's Gate.
All right, well, that does it for this week's episode on the September 23 Nintendo Direct. Definitely let us know what you thought. Thanks to MilkyWay.co, who does our website. Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick online, I am PDYX.
I am most places at Weebwitched.
Just join the Discord and find me at Bordan. That's the best way to talk to me.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And if you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We have a website, switchheadz.com. And also join our Discord and our Facebook group. We'll have links to both of those in the description of this episode. Join the Discord. It's such a great time. Such a wonderful thing. What a great episode on the Direct. Oh my God, if you made it this far, God bless you. We'll be back next week with an all brand new episode, so don't touch your dial. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be a good one. Come back for that. But in the meantime, folks, you know the drill. Stay safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Play F-099, man. We got to get more. We got to get F-0-100. God damn it. That's coming up next.
The next game.
We love you guys very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.